What's up, guys? You are listening to HVAC Masters of the Hustle podcast, and this is your host, J Dub Moneymaker, and welcome to episode 103. First off, I want to say thank you for everyone that listens to the podcast and tunes in every week and tells me how this podcast is bringing you and your company to the next level. And for all my new listeners out there, make sure you guys smash the subscribe button and make sure you guys tell someone about this podcast because, as I said, this podcast is helping thousands and thousands and thousands of people get to the next level. First off, I want to make a quick announcement. May 27th and May 28th, I have a 2-day big training event in Vacaville, California. If you guys want to sign up for that, make sure you guys message me. Go to my website. I'm going to go ahead and float that at the bottom of the screen as well. www.hvacmasters with an S of the hustle.com. Again, that's www.hvacmasters of the hustle.com. And man, do we have a great episode for you folks today. As I say every episode, I believe everyone has a Spartan in them. It's my job, my duty, and my obligation to bring that out in you. And let's welcome to our hot seat. Not only is he one of our sponsors for the podcast, but he started in the HVAC industry, and man, has he grown to where he is today. Let's welcome the one and only Seth Ure into the hot seat, right? I didn't butcher it.
No, it's Seth Ure, but you're good. Yeah. I've been called a lot worse, so.
Absolutely, man. So tell my listeners a little bit about yourself. So you're one of my sponsors for Gainer Partners, which is a finance company, but you started in the HVAC before the financing and everything like that. So can you give my listeners a little bit understanding about your background?
Yeah. So my background is a little weird, but whose isn't, right? I started off thinking, so I had an opportunity to live in Hong Kong earlier in my life. So I spoke Chinese and I kind of wanted to get into, international law. So I went through the whole rigmarole, got a law degree and an MBA and started pursuing the corporate law track. And my wife told me that, working 80, 90 hours a week in China when I had a family probably wasn't going to suit her. And so I abandoned the law and I went and joined HVAC. I went to work for an HVAC manufacturer and the largest residential manufacturer in the country, and did a lot of stuff with them. I did, supply chain analysis. I did business analysis, drafted and negotiated a bunch of contracts, did manufacturing, got my Lean Six Sigma certification, wound up in marketing where I was dealing all the time with distributors and contractors. And then end up going out to work for a finance platform. And one of the things that I have a partner named Rob Knoll. And one of the things we noticed right away is that in finance, you had a whole bunch of bankers trying to talk to HVAC contractors. And they're just speaking totally different languages and frankly doing some stupid crap. And so we got in there, we're like, this doesn't work for most guys, And we started creating our own trainings. And I can't tell you how many times I had guys say, how come nobody ever told me this before? Or how come nobody ever explained it like that before? Like, well, I don't know. Like, there's two things I know really well. I know HVAC and I know financing. So I guess I can marry them together, And Rob's in the same boat. So, we do other home improvement stuff, but HVAC is really our baby. That's where we live. We've trained. We counted up one time and it was over 10,000 contractors that we'd trained and been in well over 1,000 different contractor shops, just seeing how people do stuff and getting a feel for, how they run their business. I can tell you that there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's a lot of ways to be successful in this industry, but there's obviously some ways you can screw it up. And so we try to help guys to, with the business side of their business. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
Finance can be intimidating for a lot of people, and we try to demystify it for the guys who don't know how to use it. We super simplify it, and then there's a lot of bigger guys who use financing a lot, but it's amazing the stuff you see that you're like, you guys are big and sophisticated and making tons of money, but there's some ways you could easily improve your margins by 2 to 4%. for a big
Absolutely.
company, that's a lot of money.
Absolutely. And for my listeners listening and tuning into the podcast, this is something that I had trouble with at the beginning of me being a comfort advisor selling systems, because I didn't really understand the merchant fee and all that and how much I was actually causing the company in the back end, right? To me,
Yeah.
everything was like, oh, 5 years, 0%, right? I didn't understand that you could sell a loan at 9.9% still to a homeowner and that they would still buy it, right, at a higher interest rate. But I didn't understand it's a non-secure loan. So it's not like a car where you could just go and repo it, right? So
Yeah.
when you educate yourself, for my listeners, about higher loans and APRs and everything like that, feel confident, because again, these loans are there to help the homeowner so they don't come out of pocket thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So this is a great program. This is a great financing program for my listeners out there. Any business owners or anything like that could reach out to Seth. Again, this is Gainer Partners. Seth, you guys have some, one of the reasons why I wanted to partner with you guys for the sponsorship is your customer service. You yourself, you're a grinder, you're a hustler, you understand the HVAC side of stuff. But then I also really like that you guys give back to the company or the comfort advisor or the selling tech as well, because you guys have a rewards program. Can
We
you tell my
do.
listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's something that really sets us apart is, it's change is hard. It's always hard and finance is uncomfortable for a lot of guys, not just the business owners, but for the comfort advisors. It's hard to understand, like you said, especially if you don't have someone who knows what they're talking about to explain it to you. So, and a lot of what we do is sales training. I mean, frankly, like what we do is sales training. We just show financing as a selling tool. So we show guys how to increase their close rate, how to sell more high efficiency jobs, sell IAQ, all that kind of stuff. That's really where we thrive is getting in there and showing guys how they can increase the close rate and stuff like that. But we have a rewards program, which is really unique in the industry. And the way it works is, the more comfort advisor or tech finances, they're going to get rewards points. And the more they do, the more the points will grow, right? So everybody's going to start out at silver, and then they'll become gold, then platinum, and platinum elite. And at platinum elite, you're earning 10 times the rewards points. So we had, a lady who was, this contractor had the lady in the office do the financing, right? And so she has been doing it for about a month and a half, and she just redeemed her rewards points for an iPad Pro. That's like a $1,200, little toy right there. So
Oh,
I got another
absolutely.
buddy, he did it for 2-3 months, and he paid for half his family's Christmas with it. So, I mean, these are pretty serious rewards. No one's going to get rich off them, but man, they make a big difference. I mean, we know a guy who's saving for the year because he wants an ATV at the end of the year, and he's going to get there. So it's pretty cool. It's like a nice little Christmas gift to yourself when
Oh,
you're already
absolutely.
financing jobs. You're already financing jobs, so might as well get
Absolutely.
something out of it.
Yeah, and that's what I like about you is you guys giving back like that by using your guys' financing. One thing I want to talk about is, credit denials. That's
Mm,
one thing with me being a national sales trainer is one thing that I hear a lot about, Seth, is, man, we have these companies that we use for financing, but man, we cannot get them approved, right? And then we
mhm.
don't have a second look or a third look. Can you talk about what maybe your process looks like and what's
Yeah.
the percentage of people getting approved and denied right now?
Yeah, that's a great question because obviously your financing is only as valuable as your approval rate, right? So if you're
Yeah,
getting declines like crazy, what's the point of running this freaking financing? It's a waste of
yeah.
time. So we're a finance platform. We have a first look program. We've got a second look program that goes all the way down to a 300 credit score. I call it heartbeat financing. You got a heartbeat, you get financed, So we have something for everybody. We also have a commercial financing for guys who are doing commercial loans. But, to your point, our first look lender is Sunlight Financial. We have a custom program with them that we built with them because we know what HVAC guys need, and that's really what we're tuned into. So we wanted to make sure it had everything that HVAC guys need in it. That goes down to a 650 credit score. But I will say that Sunlight does a couple things different. Okay, first thing that they do differently is they use a different back-end credit checking tool. And what that translates into is that a lot of the time you're going to get a 30 to 40 point FICO boost as if if you compared it to another competitor program, right? So you're going to come back with better credit scores, which is going to mean more approvals. The other thing that goes on is that, you can use household income on that application, which, as we know, there's two ways guys get approved, right? They get approved off their credit score, and they get approved off of their DTI, the debt to income. So if you're increasing the income and then you're increasing that credit score, you're going to wind up with a higher approval rate, right? So just for your listeners' information, if you look at 650 on up across the country, that means about 75% of people will fall into that category, right? So 3 out of 4 guys you run in the financing, they're going to get approved. Now we have a second look program. It's through a company called Spectrum, and it goes from 650 all the way down to 300. And here's the best way to use this. So Sunlight has a pre-qualification tool. It's 96% accurate. So one of the things you can do is you can run that pre-qual. It's no impact to their credit. And so there's a couple ways guys can use that, right? If you have dispatchers who are really good, every single time a lead comes in, a marketed lead comes in, hey, let me spend 30 seconds with you. We'll get you some qualification taken care of. And that'll allow my field service or my comfort advisor to give you all of the options when we come out there. Okay. All they got to get for that pre-qualification is, name, address, phone number, and estimated annual income, right? So really fast, boom, no impact to your credit. Now that's a qualified lead. That's a lot more valuable lead. You can use that if someone's on the fence, right? So they're kind of debating between a couple different system options. It's kind of hard to get them to decide what they want to do. Hey, would it help if we took 30 seconds, ran a pre-qualification? It's not going to have any impact to your credit, and that'll give you more options. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, boom, looks like you're qualified. So we could get you for that 10 years at 6.99%. That's going to put you at that $116 a month. How does that sound to you? Yeah, sounds pretty good, right? So that pre-qualification tool is really nice. But the other thing it does is makes it so you don't have to run 2 applications. Because I tell you what, if you spend an hour and a half with a customer doing load calculations, building rapport, going through this whole process, and they're sold, and then you run a finance app and they get declined, it's like a bucket of ice water on the sale, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And then your next thing is, well, I've got this one for people with crappy credit. Why don't we have you run you through that one too? Yes. How do you negotiate that conversation,
like,
right?
oh,
yeah, exactly. Like, oh, I didn't want you to know I had crappy credit, So if guys run the pre-qual in 30 seconds, they're going to know if these guys qualify. If they don't qualify, I'm not going to be selling them my highest end system, right? I'm going to be talking about my base efficiency stuff, and I'm going to be getting them into my second look offerings, right? Base mid efficiency, but I'm not selling a $25,000 job to somebody who I know has a 490 credit score.
Yeah.
Right.
No. That's understanding. So you said your first look is with Sunlight Financial, and they go as low as 650.
That's
what is your second look go down to? And then your third look, you said, goes low as 300 potentially.
That's correct. Yeah. So that's a really slick application. I'll tell you why. It's called Spectrum. And it's one application, and it's going to give the customer the best they qualify for. Okay, so there's about 12-15% of the population whose credit is going to be between 600 and 650. And if you're someone whose credit is like a 630, 640, it's not great. But if somebody offers you like a 29% interest rate, you're like, no way, I'm never going to take that, right? So but what this does is, yeah, if they're between 600 and 650, they're going to get offered something between 10.99% and 14.99%. And that'll go all the way out to a 15-year loan. So you could get them into a mid-efficiency system at like $88 a month or something like that. It's super affordable, And frankly, $12.99 or something like that for someone whose credit is a little damaged, that's not terrible. Then if they're coming at like $480, they're going to get offered, like a 5-year lease. Okay. And the interest rate on that's going to be a little higher. It's not great. Guys are always like, wow, that's a high interest rate. Yeah, well, their credit's like a 450. So what did you expect to see here? So but that's really how it works.
What I was saying, or what I was meaning a second ago, is a lot of times people, even, you don't have to talk APR or anything like that, because if they get approved and they have a bad FICO score, they know it, right? So the fact that they're just getting approved, they're just like, okay, yeah, sign me up. So I want my listeners to understand that this is a platform financing for you guys to go to do all 3 hits under one platform, so you're not re-asking and you're giving them the best, and you could do a pre-qualify without even taking a hit. And at the end, you guys, if you do happily involve your client, you guys get rewards on top of it.
Yeah. And what's great about this is they can offer a 9.99% interest loan to anybody for 5, 7, 10, 12 years, no contractor fee.
So there's
that is
no merchant
great.
on a 9.9 for 12
No
years.
fee. Yep. So that is awesome for like a base efficiency system where, you have the least amount of margin built into base efficiency. Put it on a 7-year 9.99%. Don't subsidize your worst offering. And then have an interest rate break between your base efficiency to your mid efficiency of like a 6.99%. So when people are talking to you, hey, we have a much better interest rate on that gold. And if you can afford $5 more a month, I really recommend that mid efficiency system. It's going to be better for you in all these different ways. So you use the financing, net interest rate, and the payment as a way of pushing people up your efficiency spectrum. You're not forcing anybody to do anything. You're giving them options, but you're incentivizing them by sweetening the deal on your high efficiency stuff.
Absolutely. And Seth, do you have any offers for maybe someone that's waiting for a tax return or something like that? That's a 6-month, no payment, no interest, or 12 months or 18?
Yeah. I always train everybody. You lead with a low monthly payment. You follow up with the same as cash offering, right? So, because you got your cash buyers and your payment buyers, right? So your cash buyer, they got money. They're just looking for flexibility. When you show up at their house, make them solve one problem, not two. Okay. The problem they got to solve is which HVAC system am I going to pick and buy and get installed? Don't make them solve the problem of where am I going to take this money from? Stocks, a savings account, a bonus, blah, 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 blah. Say, look, we can do 12 months with no interest, no payments. That way, if you pay this off anytime in the next 12 months, you'll be good to go. You're not going to pay any interest on it. Right. So the way that.
No, go ahead, sir. No, go ahead.
I was going to say that the best way to approach that is very simple. Hey, I know you weren't planning on spending $8,700 today. We can do this for as little as $99 a month. We also have a promotion right now. It's 12 months with no interest. Which of those is going to fit your budget better? You're expressing empathy because when you show up, you're the bad guy, right? They were hoping for a $200-300 sale, and now you're telling them it's $9,800. Ouch, right? Heart attack area. Then, so you express some empathy, you give them a couple options, and you ask for the sale, right? It works.
Absolutely. One thing that I'm sure my listeners might be thinking in their head right now is, as comfort advisors, I really try to stay away from, and I'm just going to say it, PACE programs, because they take forever, right? So when you're doing online financing and you're doing it through, PACE, which is equity line, it takes roughly, I could be at a home for up to 2 hours on financing. So can you talk about your process of, calling in or whatever it is with the application? What is your process?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's an app-based. You can do it from a desktop. You can do it from an app. You can do it from your tablet, phone, whatever. And it takes 3 to 5 minutes. So if anybody's ever gone online and filled out like a regular auto app where they're just asking for your address, name, information, income, social, birthday, where you work, hit submit, boom, automatically you're approved. That's pretty much what it is. So you open up your app, you just click, you select the loan and the project amount. They type in their information, hit submit, and it's about a 10-second approval. So boom, congratulations, you're approved. So everybody who gets approved will get approved for up to $20,000, right? There's not going to be you applied for $12,000 and here's a counter offer for $9,000 because that doesn't do me really much good. It's a $12,000 project, right? So everybody gets approved for the full amount. Everyone's going to get approved for up to $20,000. If they apply for more than that, the loans go up to $100,000, right? But it's a very simple process. Once they're approved, they can sign their loan docs right there on the contractor's tablet. So let's say, for example, I'm selling you and we go through and we talk about it. You say, I want to do this loan. Great. Let's go ahead and get you qualified, fill out the information, hit congratulations, you're approved. Let's go ahead and sign your loan docs. I just click the button, sign loan docs, and the customer is going to go through a DocuSign right there on my tablet. If they don't want to do that, you can email it to them and they can do it on their own tablet. So very simple. And you can do that before you ever do the job, right? You don't have to wait until the job is done and then try to chase down and collect this loan docs.
That was my next question is you could get everything signed right there on the spot. So after the install, if the installers, because let me tell you, I can't tell you guys, and I'm sure my listeners have done this, how many times the installers are supposed to be held accountable to get a signature. And all of a sudden we get our checks and we're like, hey, why don't we have this job on there? And then all of a sudden we're held responsible to go hunt our money, right? So you
Yep.
guys, this is a great platform for that too. You get to sign right there on the spot. No one has to chase the money. Once it's installed and the documents are submitted, what's the turnaround on payment?
Yeah, so it's super simple. Once the job's installed, you, the comfort advisor, someone in the office, whoever decides going to do this, goes into the portal and hits a button that says request payment. Boom. When they hit that, it's going to send a text message to the homeowner, and it's just going to say, is the job installed? Right? They hit a little button. Yes. Boom. You get paid in 24 to 48 hours. It's a direct deposit straight into your account. So super clean. No paperwork that you have to keep for 5 years or keep in your office or submit to the bank after some period of time, or, you know what I mean, chase down, run out to the customer's house, get a signature. It's like, it's all digital. I mean, you don't have to track anything. There's no application fees. You know, if your customer misses a payment, you know, there's a lot of these programs where the customer misses a payment and it goes to like a 28.99% back to day one, and the customer gets hit because they went on vacation, they forgot about it, and they come back and they got like $900 in fees, and their monthly payment's now like $370 a month. And who do they call? They don't call the bank. They call the contractor. Man, you screwed me. You put me into this bad loan, right? With this program, they miss a payment, and they get a nominal fee, like $30 or something like that, just like an auto loan, and they keep their interest rate. So it's fair to the homeowner. You're not going to be generating, you know, negative reviews on a website after, you know, 3 months later just because the customer misses a payment or something like that. It's super fair to the homeowner, works real clean for the contractor.
Seth, let me ask you, you know, for maybe some of the contractors that are listening or my comfort advisors, one thing that you were talking about is you do on-site training.
We do.
So can you explain a little bit of the on-site training? Because you were talking about dispatchers a little bit earlier on, you know, teaching dispatchers how to do a pre-qualify on a homeowner before they turn the lead over to a comfort advisor if it's a marketing lead. What type of trainings do you do on site when you do offer it, and does it cost anything to the company?
Yeah, so we do, well, lately we haven't done as many on-site trainings because of COVID, obviously, but we've been doing a lot of Zoom trainings, you know what I'm saying? But we're free to work with, you know what I mean? A big disconnect from what I see is, you know, there's a lot of programs and software services and all that kind of stuff, but there's a big gap in the implementation. So we're really big on implementation training. So every office is a little different. We customize our trainings to every customer. Some guys want to have, you know, someone in their office take all the financing. Some people want to train all their comfort advisors to do it. Everyone does it a little different. So we really look at the way they do it and the way they want to continue doing it, because the goal is to minimize the disruption or impact of the business. But we just train them how to do it, you know? So if it's your dispatch and you think that's we can talk to all of them. We can set them up with scripts. Hey, here's how you talk to people. Here's a good way to approach this. Here's how you can talk through. It's a real quick, you know, 15, 30-second add-on into what you're already doing, and you build it in that way. We train comfort advisors all the time to show them, you know, really how to build financing into your offering. Because a lot of comfort advisors are really good, right? Like there's a lot of good comfort advisors in this program or in this industry, but a lot of them still need help. So we can train techs on sales tech, sales training and tech selling, stuff like that, really increase tech turnovers, things like that. But yeah, our trainings are customized. If it's a big company, we'll set all of their office staff down, train them, maybe have a separate training for their comfort advisors to walk them through the app, to help build out their sales offering, to customize the finance offering to that, to reinforce what it is they want to sell. So yeah, we do a lot of trainings. They're all very custom. We're free to work with because we want people to be successful. You know, I'll say one thing. You didn't ask this question, but you know, I love this job. I love what I do because I love working with contractors. You know, like I respect the people in the HVAC industry so much because most of them are people who I relate to. You know, they get up at the crack of dawn. They work their butts off. They don't expect a handout from anybody. Like they're the American dream, right? Like honest people working hard, trying to make money for their family. And I like that. I like working with people who I like and helping people. And fortunately, I get to help a lot of people, and I love it. It's the best part of my job. It's just the people that you work with. And I know you do this a lot too. I mean, you work with people all the time and you help them. So I'm sure you'll relate to this, but like, I
Oh
like
yeah,
the people in the industry, they're good people.
absolutely, brother. And that's why I do it, is because I'm passionate about helping people and bringing them to the next level. But one thing I want to talk about, which you just hit real quick, was for my business owners listening to this podcast. If your employees do not understand your financing or any financing, or maybe you think that they understand financing, your next meeting tomorrow, next week, do a role play with financing and see if they actually understand it and if they're presenting it right. Because if they're not, you guys are leaving so much money and so much opportunity on the table, because I think financing should be offered on part repairs, everything. $500 finance, whatever. Some people, $500, that could be Christmas. We just had Christmas a couple months ago, right? That could be a big savings because, with COVID, people lost their jobs. There's a lot of negativity in this world that people don't know what's happening. So a lot of people are holding on to their income right now. So again, you guys, this financing, with Gainer Partners offers you guys the solution of going in there with Zoom meetings and teaching your employees on how to set up financing, how to talk about it. Because again, if a homeowner doesn't understand financing or the way that your employee is trying to, speak about it, a confused mind doesn't what?
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
confused mind doesn't buy.
That is such a great exercise right there. I mean, that if you just try that, hey, explain to me our financing option, watch and see how people stumble. It's amazing. And really, it's not that complicated. I mean, but you do have to be taught it, right? Like, you got to learn it and practice it a little bit in
Oh,
order to get it.
absolutely. I have to say, once I learned financing, again, my first 2.5 years, even though I sold a lot, 3 million my second year and 2.2 in 8 months my first year, there was a lot of learning curve. I only made 120,000 off that 2 million, right? And then my
Mm,
second year off that 3 million, I made 160. So, and it was because I didn't know my financing. I was giving jobs away. I didn't
mm,
understand the merchant fee. I didn't understand that, hey, if I present because I feel comfortable now, at presenting a system at 9.9% for 10 years. And if the homeowner is like, oh my God, that's a high interest rate, how do you combat that? So again, listening to my podcast, to my business owners, I really, really, really hope you guys do this. Your next meeting, I promise you guys, have your sales guys and your technicians, because again, technicians need to be offering financing, and make them comfortable about it. Because while we're role playing it, if they are uncomfortable and they succeed while they're uncomfortable, damn, disguise the limits of what they can do when they're comfortable.
mm. Yeah, that's terrific advice. And we do that all the time. One thing that I see a lot in this industry, in terms of just the biggest mistakes you see, right? One of those is just me marketing, right? What I call me marketing. Like, you assume everybody else is just like you, right? So, hey, I wouldn't finance this job for 10 years, so they wouldn't. Yeah, well, you can
Yep.
build your own HVAC system and put it in yourself. Of course you wouldn't, right? Like, you're not selling to the customer.
Yep.
You're not selling to yourself. You're selling to them, right? So don't me market. Just don't assume other people are like you. Give them options. Give them payment options on your system options, and let them choose. You're not going to insult them by offering them financing. If you just assume 80% of the people you talk to need financing, you'll be right. Right? Because most people you talk to can't just stroke a check for $10,000, $12,000. Right? So
Absolutely. And we have to establish, for all my listeners out there listening to this, I teach the 7 sales step process, as you guys know, and we establish financing at the beginning of our presentation in the questionnaire. You guys have to establish a budget, and you have to lock them in on a financing. I don't care if they're a cash buyer or not. You have to ask, hey, Bob and Betty, without taking food off the table, what would be affordable on a monthly base? 150 a month, 200, 250, 300, 300 plus. they're always going to say the low end, 100, 150, 200, right? Whatever they say, design their financing at that, but then do a utility overpayment and show them how much they're going to drop their utility bill. And then it will drop their out-of-pocket cost even more. So just a little tip and trick for you guys. Seth, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I got business listeners. I got listeners from business owners, dispatchers, technicians, comfort advisors, installers. What would you like for them to get out of this episode of HVAC Masters of the Hustle?
What I'd like is for people who aren't doing financing, think back 50 years to a car dealership who wasn't offering financing. Today that dealership's out of business. 10, 15 years from now, people who aren't offering financing, it doesn't look good, because nothing's getting cheaper. Everything's getting more expensive. And, the cost of everything's getting more expensive and incomes aren't keeping up. Financing is a new reality. So if you're not doing financing, start. Today is the day to start, right? You can email me, Seth@GainerPartners.com, and we will, get you hooked up. We can do trainings with you and your staff. For people who are doing financing, there's really, I see a lot of people doing financing, but I see them paying a lot of money to the bank, right? 0% for 60 is a perfect example. That could be a 20% contractor fee on that. And,
absolutely.
If you can build 20% into your costs and people are willing to pay it, they're not paying that for the bank that you're partnered with. They're paying it to you because you're good at your job. You're good at marketing. That's your brand equity in the industry, right? So don't give that whole thing away to the bank. Keep it for yourself. So I help people optimize those financing fees so that they can still close more jobs, still have a really attractive offering, but they're not giving all their margin away to the bank. That's really, at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is help people improve gross margin, guys who are already using financing, close more jobs. People who aren't using financing, get them comfortable with it, help them know how it works. So yeah, we would love to work with people. Like I say, Seth@GainerPartners.com is where they can reach us. They can check out our website, GainerPartners.com. But yeah, people don't do this for a lot of reasons, but there's never a better time than the present to make the changes you need to do.
Absolutely, brother. Seth, thank you for being a guest in the hot seat, brother. I appreciate everything that you do for the podcast and the commitment that I have to you, as well as that you have for myself and my listeners out there, because we're taking everyone to the next level, right?
That's right. I appreciate you, Jason. I've listened to a lot of your podcasts. You have great guests. You ask great questions. And I learn something every time I listen to one of your podcasts. I just think, it's so cool. That's such an interesting point, So I've learned a lot listening to you and listening to your guests. So I like this podcast. It's a lot of fun. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, brother. Till next time.
Okay. See you, buddy.